Hello there. Thank you so much for joining us. This is News Channel Nebraska. My name's Eric McKay. Let's take a look at your top headlines today. President Donald Trump says he's planning to announce broad reciprocal tariffs on Wednesday. It's unclear what they'll entail. The White House even said he was still deciding as of Monday. But these high stakes and the timeline prompting a final rush around the world today. And as Amy Kiley reports, it involves efforts to mitigate impacts, prepare retaliatory measures, and control messaging.
I think everybody's concerned.
A final scramble is underway ahead of tomorrow's planned unveiling of President Donald Trump's sweeping new tariffs.
They're reciprocal, so whatever they charge us, we charge them, but we're being nicer than they were.
Some international leaders are trying to mitigate impacts, and the U.S. Senate is expected to take up a resolution aimed at blocking the tariffs on Canadian goods. Only a small handful of Republicans say they might join Democrats in supporting it, but others are voicing concerns.
Tariffs will create pain for some businesses, and I think Wisconsin will be particularly hard hit with all the manufacturing and agricultural interests.
We've already heard from some of our beef processors and popcorn exporters that they're losing some market share in Europe.
Meanwhile, some countries are preparing to retaliate against the U.S. South Korea, China, and Japan say they're planning a joint response. Other nations say they're working on measures, too. The final part of today's scramble involves messaging.
It will be Liberation Day in America.
The U.S. stock market is coming off its worst quarter in years. Goldman Sachs says a recession is now more likely due to tariffs, but Trump and his allies promise a bright future with more domestic manufacturing.
We have to get factors in place in these unfair trade laws to where they don't drive a race to the bottom.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
And there are concerns the U.S. economy faces a growing risk of a recession. Goldman Sachs increased its risk for an economic slowdown over the next year up to 35%. Amid the risk and uncertainty of trade wars, inflation, and unemployment, many Americans are keeping a close eye on their investments and bank accounts. But are you getting the most bang for your buck at the bank? Michael Yoshida has what you need to know.
As America's economy faces growing uncertainty, are your bank accounts doing all they can for you?
It's important to shop around periodically. I don't think enough people are doing that. Only about 1 in 4 have switched accounts in the last 5 years.
According to Bankrate, Americans surveyed have held on to the same checking account for an average of 19 years and the same savings account for an average of 17. Convenience is the reason many give for staying.
There actually is such a thing as too much loyalty because this account may not suit you anymore.
So how to approach your accounts? Bankrate's Ted Rossman says for your checking, because that's usually your daily transaction account for your paycheck and bills. Bigger brick and mortar banks such as Chase, Bank of America, Citi, and Wells Fargo are often great because of little to no fees, easy ATM and branch access, and quality customer service. But for your savings, shop around. In particular, among smaller institutions, credit unions, community and online banks, such as Brio Direct, Rising Bank, and others, where you'll often find better rates for a high-yield savings account.
Checking accounts usually yield next to nothing. Savings accounts, on the other hand, some of the good ones are upwards of 4%.
Over time, that adds up.
Think of it this way, for every $10,000 you save, it's about $450 a year in interest if you're getting about 4.5%.
In Washington, I'm Michael Yoshida reporting.
In other news, one person is dead, another recovering from injuries suffered in a weekend head-on collision. It happened south of the town of Elmwood on U.S. Highway 34 on Sunday. Sheriff's officials in Cass County tell us a westbound SUV crashed into an eastbound semi. The driver of that SUV, 53-year-old David Noonan of La Vista, was killed on impact. The driver of the semi was hospitalized in Lincoln with what were called minor injuries. A teenager and 3 southeast Nebraska deputies were hospitalized after the teenager was pulled from a burning vehicle. It happened just south of the town of Milford. The Seward County Sheriff's Office says a teen driver veered off the road and crashed into a tree, causing the vehicle to catch fire. Seward County deputies removed the teen from the vehicle and transported them to a Lincoln hospital with what were called severe burns. Their condition hasn't been updated. The 3 deputies, meanwhile, suffered what were called minor burns. They were treated and released at a Seward hospital. Well, it's a product you can't find in Nebraska stores currently, and the state unicameral taking steps to keep it from ever showing up. A bill to ban the sale and production of lab-grown meat in Nebraska advanced yesterday. The bill was introduced by Senator Barry DeKay of Creighton, who said he's trying to ensure the product is safe before it reaches Nebraska shelves.
I don't want us to be behind the 8 ball and say, hey, there are health concerns here that we have not addressed, and now we got to claw back something that's already on the shelves.
But opponents of the bill say Nebraska has more pressing concerns than addressing what is still a legally allowed product in America.
Is fake meat causing real problems in Nebraska communities? No. This bill has only been introduced as a big government, nanny state reactionary policy insisted upon by a governor who can be triggered by anything.
Governor Jim Pillen did praise the decision in a statement released Monday afternoon. The bill has yet to be scheduled for a second round of debate. Authorities say a central Nebraska woman was scammed by someone claiming to be Elon Musk. Police in Grand Island say the 72-year-old woman was looking for ways to invest in Tesla and came into contact with someone online with the username Elon Musk. Investigators say that scammer got over $20,000 worth of Bitcoin from the woman over several years. Authorities say she only began to get suspicious when the impersonator asked her to secure a $1 million loan. The Better Business Bureau says impersonation scams are common. They say always verify that who you're talking to online is who they say they are. This past weekend, the Norfolk Family YMCA cycling class embarked on a 2-hour bike ride with a mission to combat hunger and support those in need. The event brought together instructors, beginners, and seasoned riders alike, all united by a cause to fill the shelves of the Northeast Community College Food Pantry. The ride showcased the power of community spirit and the difference that can be made when people come together for a common goal.
I have to credit all of my cycling instructors, and they just really wanted to come together on how can we make our classes better and increase our numbers. We have 25 bikes in the cycling studio, so how can we fill all those bikes and get people in, just make them feel better overall. And then they all had a group text and they're like, let's just get together, kind of throw a cycling party. And then one of the instructors brought in like, hey, we can give back to the community. Northeast Community College has a food pantry. Let's encourage people to bring in some food or some cash and we'll do the shopping for that pantry. And 100% of the cash donations and 3 full totes of food will go to Northeast Community College Food Pantry.
Anyone who'd like to give, donations can still be dropped off through this Thursday at Northeast Community College. Racing enthusiasts gathered this past Saturday as the Northeast Nebraska Motorsports Organization introduced its 4th Hall of Fame class. The event not only celebrated the dedication and achievements of the inductees, but also provided an opportunity for fans, sponsors, and racers to connect and engage with the sport they love. The day filled with excitement, attendees getting the chance to meet the new Hall of Famers up close while supporting a sport that they say thrives on community involvement and generous contributions.
We're Mike Landauer from Albion, Nebraska, and then Robert Osborne from right here in Norfolk, Nebraska, and then Bill Kirk from Salix, Iowa, and then Marv Marshak, I believe, from David City, Nebraska. And then we also do an impact award every year, which basically we award somebody who had a huge impact on the sport of racing over their lifetime, named after Bob and Janet Haase, who probably had the most impact on our sport in this town. This year's winner of that award is Kevin and Brian Signor. Kevin owns the track. He stuck his neck out and gave us a place to race and built the place, and then Brian kind of runs the place, track manager. He was instrumental in getting the place built to give us a place to have fun.
The induction ceremony will be held Saturday, October 11th during the annual Motorsports Hall of Fame banquet at the Warhorse Event Center in Norfolk. And Easter's just a few weeks away, but consumers are already on egg hunts. The demand for eggs typically goes up this time of year, so could shoppers be paying even more as the holiday approaches? Jen Sullivan looks at what's happening with egg prices.
The high prices of eggs may be beginning to crack. Last week, the wholesale price for white large eggs fell 26 cents to $3 per dozen, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. But prices at the grocery store are nearly double.
We are going to be in this for a while.
Emily Metz is the president and CEO of the American Egg Board. This has been a particularly challenging time for these farmers. It's led to a shortage. Some experts say grocery stores have also kept prices high to recoup lost profits, which is why shoppers are shelling out more for eggs.
We have experienced devastating losses as a result of this disease. It takes months and months to get back to being able to produce eggs again.
Here's the good news. In the month of March, prices have consistently come down each week. And that's due to a variety of factors. Fewer avian flu cases, the demand for eggs have dropped, and the Trump administration has pledged $1 billion to help combat the avian flu crisis, including purchasing eggs from other countries like Mexico and Turkey. Here's the bad news. With Easter and Passover coming up, the demand for eggs is expected to rise.
We're expecting that prices will go back up again. Easter is our highest consumption period of the entire year.
Experts are also worried that the spring bird migration could also make avian flu cases go up.
We're certainly hopeful that we can battle back against any cases that might result from spring migration, but we just truthfully don't know.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
And you can stay up to date with the very latest by following us online. Head to newschannelnebraska.com. Click on the News tab there. You can also follow us on X, like us on Facebook and Instagram as well. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. This is News Channel Nebraska.